but want to keep living where you are, check out Providence Elder Place PACE. This program offers healthcare, housing, transportation, and recreational activities. There are no copays or deductibles, and it's covered through Medicare and Medicaid. Providence Elder Place PACE works to keep you healthy and in your home. Call 206-320-5325 or visit providence.org Elder Place. Providence.org Elder Place.
Hi, I'm Mac McGregor, the host of the You Can Make a Difference show, which airs live every Friday at 12 noon PT time. On the You Can Make a Difference show, we shine a spotlight on people who are doing amazing things to make a positive difference in our communities and in our world. We talk about what inspired them to do the work and what inspires them to keep going, how they got their start, and how you can, if it inspires you, plug into their work. We can all do something that makes a difference. So tune in every Friday at noon to the You Can Make a Difference show with Mac McGregor.
Yo, what's good? It's D-Money, and you should definitely check out Fresh Juice every Wednesday, 9 to 11 Pacific, right on Rainier Avenue Radio.
With pint-sized Patron, P-Treasy the Don. Y'all be sure to clean your mirrors as we play brand new hip-hop and R&B from locals and worldwide.
It's ID Yourself, a.k.a. Malcolm Flex. Make sure you check out Fresh Juice every Wednesday, Pacific Standard Time from 9 to 11 p.m.
And to get those exclusive interviews that we be doing.
Sipping a brand new Fresh Juice every single week.
Yeah. Every Wednesday, 9 to 11, Rainier Avenue Radio. Yeah, yeah.
Thông điệp này được gửi đến bạn bởi Bộ Y tế Công cộng Seattle và quận King, Bộ Y tế Washington, Washington Chapter AAP và Wilson Ridge. Cho dù lớp học của bạn ở đâu, dù trực tiếp hay trực tuyến, tiêm chủng định kỳ sẽ bảo vệ cho con của bạn tránh khỏi các bệnh nghiêm trọng như bệnh sởi, quai bị và thủy đậu. Nếu bạn trở nên
1:30. I thought you
parenthelp123.org hoặc gọi đường dây nóng Help Me Grow Washington ở số 1-800-322-2588.
This is Rainier Avenue Radio
Ask questions.
and World.
Welcome to Rainier Avenue Radio. This is Afternoons with Monique, recording live in Seattle, Washington, every Thursday at 1 p.m.
Good afternoon, Seattle. This is Monique Lee from the Rainier Avenue Radio Show, Afternoons with Monique. Today's guest is no stranger to Washington politics. She's been around for, I believe, at least a decade in the law, and recently received some raving endorsements from community leaders as well as judicial leaders. Please welcome to my show, Miss Ann Davison for City Attorney.
Hi, Monique. It's good to see you and talk with you again.
Likewise. Congratulations on the Times endorsement, and two major former governors had also endorsed you recently, I read. Well done.
Thank you. That is very heartwarming for me, and I so appreciate their seeing the gravity of this race, so that they felt the need to speak up about what is at stake for the future of Seattle.
Absolutely. Now, the last time you were on my show, I believe, was about a week and a half ago, when we just got words that you were one of the two contenders to have gone past primary and now going into the final of the race. So how are you guys doing in terms of campaigning? And of course, I read all exciting news for your campaign toward the City of Seattle office. So tell us where you guys are right now.
Well, we're doing fantastic. This is a complete grassroots campaign. I'm someone who never planned to be in politics professionally, but have felt compelled to use my skill set in a way that will positively impact our city. As I've lived here for 25 years, 17 of those as a lawyer and 12 of those as a mom. And so it is important, as we're talking about people join the campaign and the broad support that is a part of this campaign, because it is about all of us. It's not about me, it's about what we need to do. And that's very exciting part, very heartwarming.
We have a little bit of an issue hearing you. I heard most of what you say, but there's some intermittent, gap pauses in your speech, just so you know. Yes, I believe the position that you're running for has 200 staff member and about $100 million budget. Am I correct in reading that?
It's about $38 million is the budget, and about $16 million in our civil division, which I've been a civil attorney my entire practice, and about $9 million in the criminal division, and $11 million in the admin area there. So that is the law department for our city. It is the city attorney is elected to set the tone and direction of that department. It is an advisory role. It is a manager and leader of our legal department. It is not someone who is in court on a regular basis. It is an advisory role, which has been my practice in the preventative side, so that you avoid court, has been significant.
Absolutely. Now, Seattle is the hub of commerce, and King County, which Seattle is in, is the biggest county in Washington State. So, a lot of issues, a lot of political ideology differences come to Seattle and duke it out. So, I believe this race for the city attorney is one of the, if not the most hotly debated in terms of ideology race this season. So, I've had Bruce Harrell on my show, and as well as both you and your opponent, Miss Nicole Thomas Kennedy, on a couple months ago, a month and a half ago. And we learned that you have significantly differences in style and in terms of direction that you want for the city, as well as where you are on the ideology spectrum. I'm sure those of us who read the Times as well as following the race know, but just for the people that just tune in, why don't you share with us a little bit about who you are and what you stand for and what you're about in this race?
I appreciate that, because there are some who have been along and listening, but there are many, as you just said, who are just starting to pay attention to what is happening for elections in our city, which ballots went in the mail yesterday. So it is the time to become informed. And so I appreciate that listeners are listening and becoming civically educated about what really impacts your daily life, which is local governance and the decisions that are made in practical terms as to what that translates to as you run your business, as you raise your family, as you are a single person trying to enjoy our arts and cultural events and nightlife that we hopefully have thriving back again, all as we exit COVID and try to recover. So again, I've lived here for 25 years, 17 of them as a lawyer. I am an Obama, Clinton, and Biden voter. And I have a political value statement on my website, neighborsforan.com, that anyone can go and read about. And I'm also an arbitrator, which is similar to a judge, and so have experience in regards to disputes in the civil area. I'm also a volunteer youth soccer, and so that's an important part for me. My civic engagement has always been significant to me, and when I speak about homelessness, which is the main impetus of why I've become civically engaged here in the city of Seattle, it also is because I spent time working in a refugee camp on the border of Cambodia. It was outside of Surin, Thailand, where people were fleeing the war that was going on within Cambodia. And I know that for me, my personal space is always the time to go in when people think it's the time to leave. Those who are capable and have the capacity to leave do so, but that leaves our truly most vulnerable behind, who are unable to leave. And so I've always felt that drawn to that type of a space. And some people might say it's similar to Seattle, and that's precisely why is because we have to be talking about a meaningful way that will bring a positive impact to public safety for people who are sheltered and
Right. Now, your experience with the refugees in Thailand, what year was that?
It was in the early 90s, and so it was with a camp that was there with United Nations.
Okay, and what do you see as a contrast, the difference And also, how do you relate working with refugees in Thailand and the unsheltered neighbors that we have?
Well, when I started to see our crisis growing since we declared that state of emergency in County in 2015, it became alarming to me to realize that the conditions in that camp were more humane and hygienic, and then what we have left people to just subsist alongside the roadways here in Seattle. I was just at a business walk down in the Soto district this morning, and was brought to tears again, right? Because the conditions of people that have been left and overlooked and ignored for far too long. And then in the midst of that are people wanting to do bad acts, and they are victimizing not only those who are most vulnerable, but also other neighbors who are able to self-care, business owners who are trying to provide jobs and services and goods to their neighborhoods. And so we have allowed this to be here in a way that is it should not be acceptable for us. We can have compassion and reform and safety. They are not mutually exclusive.
What do you think is a correct approach to help our unsheltered or homeless community, and what is the city attorney's role in it?
I think that first off, we all need to have a personal sense of obligation for that. And so when I say that, it's because I take that seriously upon myself, and go to do outreach and know people by name, and assist in that, because I think it's important. I think sometimes just on a personal note that it's not necessarily money, but it's actually relational capital. So we all need to take some time to invest in where we can be someone else's social fabric. So that there is a different trajectory in people's lives. In regards to the city attorney's role, again, our values are reflected in our laws, and those laws do need to mean something for us. And then there is a way that the law can be helpful and beneficial for people who are needing help. It is not in any way to criminalize status. No one in our very deep-hearted city wants to do any harm to someone who is in need. We are deep-hearted, but we are not weak-hearted. And so it means that our laws have to be meaningful for us. And if they are there to protect the public and individuals and victims of crime and prevent future ones.
I see. When I was reading on some of the issues that are currently trying to be addressed in the city, such as homelessness and how to get business city folks going back into the city to do business. By the way, how have you observed as you were canvassing and talking to folks in the community? Do you see business people re-congregate back into downtown? Do you see a pull into the city, or is the crime and the break-in and all the problems downtown, is that still affecting businesses downtown?
It does seem to be. I think particularly which is difficult when we see so many office workers are going to be able to still work remote. And so that looking at businesses that are having to not just withstand a theft at a large scale, often organized way, but are having a lower income stream because of the number of patrons. And then some, frankly, are unable to keep workers. The ones I was speaking to today talked about conditions that their employees have to get through in order to get to the job, or what is involved at their workplace. It is beyond alarming to learn that one business owner today told me that he had 5 employees who have now gotten a concealed carry permit because they feel so unsafe going around to their job.
Right.
Shocking.
Yes, I recently read that gun violence has increased significantly in 2020 during the pandemic, and the purchasing of guns also have risen, and I believe that may have been due to the lack of police enforcement in the city, and people feeling like they have to take up arms in order to protect their self-interest, or that's one part of it. And then the other part is, maybe there's more criminal activities that involves gun violence. Is this an area that you, as a city attorney, if you were elected, would have to address some of the gun violence that part of just considers felony?
Well, there are several gun offenses at the misdemeanor level. For example, just unlawful discharge of a firearm. We had that a couple weeks ago down in Judkins Park, where there was a youth football game going on a Saturday afternoon, and the coach is having to give directions as to for 7-year-olds of what to do. And so when we're talking about places of intervention so that things do not escalate, that is absolutely a place where we can, with misdemeanor prosecution, make sure we are intervening in a way so that gun violence is not on the rise within the city of Seattle. That's very important for all sectors of our neighborhoods within the city.
What do you see as wrong with our current criminal legal system?
Well, I think we have to acknowledge that there's been historically not a good use often of policing and prosecution in a way that we have to acknowledge that and make sure that we are doing all things we can in regards to reform. That's why I am very honored to have the endorsement of police reform leaders Victoria Beach and Reverend Harriet Walden and Pastor Harvey Drake. And I think it's significant because, listening to them, it's always about better policing. It's not about less. And so that is something that is definitely a part of the conversation, and having that modernized approach to reform so that we get to something that is called relational policing, so that it is even beyond community, but it's actually where we have built and restored a sense of trust within community, law enforcement, and connectivity of the different agencies and departments that create for us what we call public safety.
That is very important in this race, isn't it? How police reform, how that enforcement of the law, how the your office that you're running for, the city attorney, how is that going to work in conjunction with the police reform? And I believe this is one of the key disagreements that you have, or differences, I would say, that you have with your opponent, Nicole Thomas Kennedy, is her position of abolishing the police force or prosecution, or reduce prosecution of these misdemeanors, as well as the jail. What kind of crime you would put punishment to people, and what kind of people we would put in jail for their infractions or their violations of the law. So can you elaborate on where you stand? I mean, I understand, I read the bio and some of the literature online, but once again, let's hear your position in police reform, as well as prosecution for the city of Seattle.
Well, I think it all starts with accountability. And I think that is what I, again, have heard from all of the people that are supporting me that we want. And that means that's within law enforcement. And that means with criminal conduct that is harmful to others. That is absolutely what everyone is saying is missing. Whether that's someone who is working in nonprofit spaces, whether that's someone, again, in police reform, is again, business owners, individuals, families, people who have endorsed me. Excuse me, it is about having both the reform and safety in moving forward. And when my opponent says she wants to almost completely dismantle the criminal division of our city attorney's office, that is a signal that more bad acts are welcome to come, because there would be no one holding that limit. And so then it becomes incumbent upon everyone else to do it for themselves. That is not the way forward for a city of nearly 1,000 people. That is not realistic. It's not practical. In addition to just the anger and hateful and physical harm wishing comments that she's put into the public space, just like here during her 4th year as a lawyer, when we are talking about repair and restoring relational aspects of our city, societally and personally, the way we conduct ourselves matters. And if we are going to really talk about unification in a way that will bring real progress for the city, it is in making sure we have a sense of professionalism and high ethical standards, so that what we put forward in the public space we know matters. And to have that true police reform, I think, again, is part of that, where we will get a better outcome for our city and for all communities when we are able to work together with people.
Well, the rest of the world look to America as a beacon of hope and example. Despite whatever negative feelings that people may say about America, I came here as a refugee. I count on the legal system to protect my rights and whatever I work hard for. I went to school, I worked hard not to have that taken away from me unlawfully, because I'm able to count on this structure and framework of the legal system. So when you hear about, our rights, our work that we spend decades building could be just smashed and taken without punishment, it jars business people as well as anyone who worked hard to get to where they are. So that's why I believe you receive these endorsements from major political leaders because of the position that you stand. So I congratulate you for that. As well as, I'm really hoping that the city will get it back into its former, structure where you don't have to see a lot of injection in the open. I've seen people downtown, engaging in illegal acts openly, where there's children walking around. So I really hope that the city will get back into, enforcing the law and seeing downtown return to its former glory, where, we have a lot of tourists coming to visit, a lot of commerce. We are a powerful hub of commerce here in King County, and Seattle is a major attraction. And now we don't see that a lot of tourists visiting as much. So it's kind of saddened for someone who lived in Seattle for, over 20 years like myself, seeing I'm very proud of Seattle. As you can see, I've lived here a long time and I really enjoy living here. And I really want to see us getting back to, cleaner street, law-abiding citizens. And I hope, if any parting words that you would like to share with our audience about your optimism toward that future, I would love to hear it.
Monique, that was really wonderful to hear you, because I think that's so important, because again, when there is a public discourse of shaming and name calling and easy use of social constructs called labeling, all that does is create more division, more division, more division. And when we're talking about our call home, where I call home, where my children and their peers call home, we have to be talking about safety for everybody. And again, a leader for this role for city attorney can set the tone and direction of what our laws mean to us. And it is a place of deep compassion. We are that deep-hearted city, but it also means that we will make sure the rest of society can function. And so holding those limits, that the laws mean something for us, can be done with compassion and with meaning. And again, with respect, bringing civility back and quality of life and livability across the city of Seattle. I do want to say to everyone that is listening, commit to this race for the next it's less than 3 weeks. Commit to this race. Everywhere you go, everyone you talk to, every day, talk about this race because and let people know what in practical terms it will mean in regards to your life in the city of Seattle. If you live here, if you work here, if you visit here, what it would mean, because it really is important
to take back our community, to make it great, isn't it? Well, Anne, it's been a pleasure having you on Afternoons with Monique, and I can't wait to see the result of this election. I'm very excited, and I can't wait to see where you go from here.
It's great to talk with you, Monique. I look forward to doing it again.
Likewise. Have a good day. Have a good afternoon, everyone, and stay tuned for the next episode of Shattering the Glass Ceiling. Good afternoon. Goodbye.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.